All right, it looks like we are live on YouTube. Yay, everybody. So it is Tuesday. It is 4 o'clock. It is time for our regular program. So, and today, oh my goodness, we have something scary for you. Yeah, that's right. You see who's behind me, right? You see. I'm trying to just check on my YouTube screen right now. It's a little bit confusing. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Okay, trying to see it live in the control room. That way, if anybody has any questions or if anything pops up, I can see what's going on. All right, so have you heard of a chupacabra before? I know, right? It's crazy. We're going to get to it in a minute while we wait for a couple of people to show up here. But I do have some announcements before we get started talking about chupacabras and coyotes. So this week is a super awesome week in the universe. It is P22 Day and International Urban Wildlife Week. Yeah, I know, right? And just last week we were in Watts with Toby, the California desert tortoise, who was very excited to get out one last time before she has to hibernate for the season. So that was really fun. And right now, I'm pretty sure Beth Pratt is out hiking P22's route from where he came from to Griffith Park. That's pretty cool. And then on Saturday, there's going to be a big virtual celebration. Usually we get together in Griffith Park, but this year, because of the pandemic, we're getting together virtually, which has some really great things going for it because people can come from all over the world, right? So, and we're going to be there doing some live talks. We're going to be talking about native reptiles, of course, and we'll be showing some. And we will also be talking about coyotes again, right? But not chupacabras, probably. So anyway, today it's chupacabras. Next week, it's celebrating cool and spooky Halloween creatures like widows, crows, and ravens. It's going to be spooky. It's going to be a spooky Halloween. And yeah, but today it's all about chupacabras and coyotes. Why would those two come up in the same conversation, right? That's kind of weird. And what's the story anyway? A lot of people did not grow up hearing about something called a chupacabra. That's sort of a new kind of an urban legend. So let's talk about this. I'm going to share my screen because I came up with a slideshow for you today. And we're going to go straight to Chupacabra versus Coyote. What? So you can see in my picture there, we have a Chupacabra on one side and we have a coyote on the other side. I'm going to put this in big screen. There we go. That's much better. So Chupacabra, myth, urban legend, coyote, super real. If you have questions, throw them into the chat and I will answer them after the slideshow. So we're going to start by talking about what is a chupacabra? What is it, right? So, of course, I went straight to Wikipedia for the reals. Chupacabra or Chupacabras, literally goat sucker, from the Spanish chupar, to suck, and cabras, goats. And I am just going to say sorry right now for my pronunciation. It's a legendary creature in the folklore of parts of the Americas, with its first purported sightings reported in Puerto Rico. Well, say that sentence 12 times fast. Its first purported sightings reported in Puerto Rico in 1995. The name comes from the animal's reported vampirism. We just talked about vampires last week, didn't we? Right? The chupacabra is said to attack and drink the blood of livestock, including goats. So scary. Ooh. Although I have to say, if you did come across a creature that you didn't know of before, you might be afraid of it. So I'm going to show some pictures of some chupacabras. I hope they're not too scary for you. This might be a really scary presentation, actually. There's some scary, scary pictures. So turn the lights on. There's another rendition of a chupacabra. He's got the goat. He looks a little bit reptilian. He's been compared to a kangaroo. Oh, there he is walking away. That's someone's actual picture. Oh, there he is in the field. Another person's actual picture. And there he is in the field. Someone's actual picture. And these last, so you can tell these are just artistic illustrations like the one behind me, right? These are what someone thought of and they drew. These are pictures of things that people saw in their neighborhood. And they didn't know what it was. And so, because it looked like a chupacabra, it became a chupacabra. They didn't know what that was. So, there have been chupacabra sightings from all over the world, but mainly they're in the Americas. Sightings and evidence are relatively new from the mid-1990s. I believe the first sighting was Puerto Rico in 1995. Okay, well, chupacabras are reptilian with scales down their backs, unless they're kangaroos. It depends on who saw it and where and when. Chupacabras survive on the blood of large mammals. There he is, eating a goat with his vampire-like fangs. He's so scary. And they're hairless, right? They definitely don't have any hair. That's definitely for sure. And they don't like the light, even though we did see some pictures of them in the daylight. The legend says they don't like the light. But the reality is, chupacabras are not real. They do make for really great stories and super great Halloween costumes, like for sure. And if you come up with something great, I hope you'll email it to me. But the reality is, we did have mysterious creatures show up in people's yards. They didn't know what it was. And that isn't the first time it's happened, right? So there are people called cryptozoologists who study animals that may or may not be real. Other examples of animals that a cryptozoologist might study would include Bigfoot, or the Yeti, or the Loch Ness Monster, right? These are things that people have taken pictures of, but they can't quite nail down what it is based on all the science they have to the date. All right, and it's on. Coyote. So back to Wikipedia. of course. The coyote, Canis latrans, is a species of canine native to North America. It's smaller than its close relative, the wolf, and slightly smaller than the closely related eastern wolf and red wolf. It fills much of the same ecological niche as the golden jackal does in Eurasia, though it is larger and more predatory, and is sometimes called the American jackal by zoologists. Other names for the species, largely historical, include the prairie wolf and the brush wolf. All right, so this is something that's real and that I bet many of you have seen in your own neighborhood, right? And there's a picture of a beautiful, healthy coyote. There's a picture of a healthy family of coyotes. Now, enter something with a big, long name that's really scary. It's called sarcoptic mange. And this is something that can happen to a healthy coyote that lives in your neighborhood. So, sarcoptic mange, back to Wikipedia, is also known as a canine scabies. Maybe you've heard of scabies. It's highly contagious. It's an infestation of a burrowing mite. The canine sarcoptic mite can also infest cats, pigs, horses, sheep, and various other species. The human analog of burrowing mite infection due to a closely related species is called scabies. So now we know of a disease that the coyote can get in the wild. And usually he doesn't get this. Usually life is good and he's happy. But if he lives in an area where he might come into contact with rodents that have been poisoned, and if he chooses to eat those rodents, not knowing that they've been poisoned, he can get sick. And when he gets sick, or when his defenses fall down, his body becomes open to mange. And this is a coyote with that sarcoptic mange mite, and he is not well. And at this point, he still kind of looks like a coyote, but as he loses his fur and as his eyes crust over, he doesn't look as much like a coyote. Very sad pictures. These are animals that in many cases have been exposed to rodenticide, and that's a big fancy name for rat poison. In fact, this image shows you what percentage of wildlife in the Santa Monica Mountains has been exposed to rodenticide. And I can tell you by looking at it, those are high numbers. 92% of the bobcats they found had anticoagulant rodenticide in their body. 94% of mountain lions and 83% of coyotes. So they don't all get sick when they're exposed to the rodenticide, but some of them do, and some of them even die. And when they see an animal that looks so crazy like that, it's just because he's sick and he could use some help, probably from a local native wildlife rehabber. Okay, this did not come out well. This is a slide from the National Park Service. It's easy to find online. You can look up rat poison infographic, National Park Service. Basically what it's showing is that someone here has put rat poison in their home. These animals eat the rats that got the poison, the bird of prey, the coyote, and the bobcat. And then it works its way up to the mountain lion, right? Poison doesn't leave the system. It just takes turns deciding where it's going to hang out for a while. And it kills things along the way. So what about coyotes? How do they live their lives? Well, they are omnivorous carnivores. So they are carnivores, but they can eat other things too. So They can eat fruit that came from the tree. They can eat mice. They love rabbits. It's their favorite food. So when he can't see because of mange, he'll take what he can get. So while ordinarily he'll be out in the wild getting whatever he can find, when he's got mange, he can't see very well, and he might be closer to homes where he can get garbage or other things that humans have left out, or even fat little rodents that are getting fed by humans that aren't afraid of anything. Those are great for a mangy coyote. He loves that. And he loves the trash because he can get that too. And how do they die? They lose the ability to see, to hunt, and to get food. They come too close to homes where humans are afraid of them, and they seek lethal management. It's very sad. But we can do stuff, right? We have the power. We can definitely reduce our use of rat poison. And there's a bunch of different ways. So the first thing is to contain the trash and make it so that wildlife cannot easily get into the lid. Got to put that lid down in a way that is tight and safe. And if you have a problem with any wildlife where you don't want it to be, you simply put a radio and a light in that area. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to clear out, because the reason rodents choose places near human dwellings is because there is shelter and there is food. And if you take away the quiet, dark shelter, they'll look for shelter somewhere else. And if you contain your garbage, you won't be able to get the food. And they won't hang out there. They'll find another place to be on their own, which is ideal. And then there's other ways we can reduce our use of rat poison to prevent mange in wildlife, right? We can plant natives instead of putting bird seed out, which brings in rats that we have to then deal with. If we plant native plants, we don't have to worry about any cleanup. We don't have to worry about rodents coming for seeds and stuff. If we plant natives, only the songbirds will enjoy that, and whatever native animals are there. But your regular rat that's coming for trash isn't going to care about native plants. So think about that. And the other awesome thing is we have barn owls here, and you can encourage their presence by putting up a box. And these, there's a local organization called Citizens for LA Wildlife that has awesome boxes that you can get and put up in your area to encourage the barn owls to come and nest in them and have some babies in the area. And one of the cool things about barn owls is they aren't big enough to eat things like cats and dogs or take them. They just take rodents. So barn owls are awesome. So coyotes are very real, and they are very important to the ecosystem. And I hope that you will have a super creepy, really spooky, silly, and scary Halloween. And some ideas for some fun and safe activities for this crazy year include telling ghost stories, telling stories about chupacabras and vampires too, watching scary movies, decorating your room or your home, dressing up and getting on Zoom with your friends. The party never ends. If you have more ideas, let me know, because next week we're talking about cool and spooky Halloween creatures, and we'll be talking about Halloween, right? So next week it's widows, crows, and ravens. I know, I can't wait. And we have some really cool stuff coming up in November and December. Of course, we'll take a little bit of time off for the holidays, but we are going to continue to keep bringing you super cool, fun things. Okay. Oh, we have a question. Did P22 have mange? That is a super great question. And why, yes, he did. And I wish I had a photo right now to share with you, because when he had mange, he was not looking like his sexy self. I'll tell you that right now. He looked rough. And if someone had seen him going through their backyard in that rough state, they might have wondered if that was indeed a mountain lion or maybe a chupacabra. Same thing with bears. Bears can also get mange. And in fact, now this guy behind me looks like he's based more on a hyena. But there have also been photos of bears that have mange that someone also thought was a chupacabra. So yeah, so that is the story on the chupacabra. I hope that you will join us next week for our, gosh, I think it'll be our 4th Halloween extravaganza. And if you've missed any of the others, just go back on the YouTube channel and look for them. We have them all recorded so you can learn about vampires versus bats. That was one. And I can't even remember the other one right now, but check it out. It's always there. And if you like this stuff, subscribe to the channel so that you know when stuff is coming up. We're always doing super fun things, and we're always trying to mix it up. And if you have some fun ideas, definitely send us an email. And thank you for joining us today. I think we're gonna end this here. So thank you so much. And we will, and tomorrow for the adults who would like to learn about close-up photography, we have a super fun program going on at 7. So check out our website or our Facebook page for that info. Nice to see everybody today. Thank you.